The Podium. The Podium showcases the beauty of this nation in a way to correct the ideas people have, ranging from arts and craft, culture and tourism, fashion, oil, agriculture, events, and many more. The Podium is a must-watch. It is entertaining, expository, informative, educative, and interactive. The Podium.
Redefining Africa and its beauties. Good evening and welcome to the Podium. My name is Titilola Aboyade-cole. Trust you've been good and I hope you're preparing for Christmas. How are you preparing? Who is inviting us to their family to come and have Christmas dinner? Well, today I know a lot of people are waiting for us because I've had messages in my private box saying, what's going on? What's going on? Where is our guest today? Where is our guest? He's here. He's in the studio. But I will be bringing him up in a few minutes now. Today we have a lot to talk about. We're going back in history. We have history to touch upon, and we have the future. We have the present, the past, the present, and the future. So many things have happened, and we all know about it. Especially if you're Yoruba, if you're a Yoruba person, you will know that a lot is going on about Yoruba people, about our cultural even identity, and also our self-determination and everything surrounding the Yoruba people. Of course, you know, I'm a Yoruba woman. I'm actually a Yoruba nationalist myself. And you know that everything that concerns my people concerns me. So today, we are bringing a very important guest. It's not even a guest. He's one of our very own at Podium International. Who do we have here today? I'm sure you've seen the flyers because a lot of you have been calling. We have the I would say former. It's strange. It sounds strange in my ears calling him former. Only yesterday, only 2 days ago. Until 2 days ago, he was the vice chairman of the Yoruba Self-Determination Movement. He completed his first term, his tenure. Despite everybody saying, we want you to extend, we want you to run for second time, he said, no, I believe in following due process and I believe in structure. I've done my own term and I think I should give space, give room for other people to come on board and do the same. And we will be here, we're elders, we're still Yoruba people, we're still very much interested in Yoruba matters. Let me not say everything now. Daddy is here, he's backstage. He's a very articulate man. He's somebody with a lot of words. He will explain to us. He will articulate everything beyond how I can describe him. So let's welcome our daddy, my daddy, the former vice chairman, and he's also a Yoruba leader, Mr. Banji Ayloge. Hello, daddy.
Hello, Yalode.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you, sir. How are you too?
It's nice to meet you. It's nice to meet you online again
I
during the
know it's
broadcast.
nice to have you here, daddy. It's nice to have you here.
Thank you.
Oh, so here we have daddy on seats. The first thing I want you guys to do for me is so that we don't start repeating ourselves. And some people won't join us later on and start saying, and start asking questions that we have followed, that we have covered. Sorry. Can you subscribe to our channel and copy the link and share with whoever you think might be interested in the topic we're discussing today? Very important topic. And Daddy, like I said, you are very, very welcome back to Podium.
Thank you.
How are you doing, sir?
Great. I've never felt better.
Wow. You've never felt better. In fact,
Yes.
your skin is shining already.
Thank you very much.
You're
Okay.
welcome, Daddy. You know, when President Clinton, the former president of United States of America, when he was going into office, he was a very young-looking, fresh man, very clean, very fresh,
Mm-hmm.
with black hair. Is it black or even ginger? But by the time he was done with his tenure, we saw a man with gray hair coming out.
Like mine, right?
And I think that's what you've done as well. Because the daddy, because the daddy, I remember when he joined Ysdm, he joined with clean shave and
Youthful
everything,
appearance.
more useful. But you're still looking very, your skin and everything, you're still looking very good. So that means
Yeah.
you managed
Yes.
it well.
It's okay.
So
Yes.
talk to me, Daddy. Talk to me.
Mhm.
Um, the journey so far. What can you say? What can we have from you, from your journey so far into YSDM?
Well, I've been an activist almost 4 decades now, and that's what I keep telling people. Even though some of the people holding contrary views to mine in YSDM say, "Oh, politician, politician." They've even made me run for office that I've never even run for. But the point is that I've been an activist even in government or even in politics. I've been an activist there. So my I mean, since 96, and I keep telling you, since 1996, myself and a few of my colleagues had zeroed in on what we call the Yoruba autonomy, which is our way of emphasizing the fact that the Yoruba must control their destiny. They must hold their destiny in their hands. That has
Hmm.
been our position since 1996. So when in 2018 we find an elderly man, a grandfatherly figure, a statesman, a history professor who didn't, or like me, didn't have to quote all the other historical figures or writers to come on board to publicly publicly call for Yoruba nation and all that. And I'm talking about the venerable Senator uh, Papa Kitoye.
Yes.
I just say, wow, now I mean, it has come to the time that everybody had to come out to support, the idea of having a Yoruba nation. And I went out talking about it and all that until I was drafted into YSDM.
Hmm.
Now, I mean, that is the journey up to, I mean, in a nutshell, you know, uh, considering the the Yoruba nation campaigns. And you know, I have no regrets in the last 2 years. I've worked closely with Senator Professor Akitoye. I've worked very closely with a number of people there, and I have very, very enormous respect for him and what he stands for.
Hmm.
So that is the journey in a nutshell. I don't want to waste your time on any other.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you. And what can you share with us while you were in office? Um, the highs, the lows of the
Well,
office of the vice chairman.
right from the beginning, let me say this. Right from the beginning, let me even. I met the organization as it was being formed or
Mhm.
being put together, and there are a lot of younger uh, people people who were operating in. And I told them when they were inviting me that what I had to give to them was the institutional memory, that I'm going to show them how to do it, and they will have to be the ones to do the job. And if you look at my intervention, both at the what I call the Yoruba Parliament, or which you call the Yoruba Council, and
Mhm.
some of the things I do, I stick strict. I mean, I've been a stickler for orderliness, for the rule, for equity, for everything you can think of. You know, you can't make a rule, and when it's convenient for you, jettison it and pick another. And which is what some of these younger folks do. When you, I mean, in YSDM, for instance, you have a few, I won't call them disgruntled, but these are people that are probably over ambitious, who always try to bend regulations to suit their own, particular, what they want at that particular moment. I can name just a few. For instance, if you want to be the secretary, you look at all the things that can make you. Let me give you an example so that people will understand. The When I was coming in, the into YSDM, the uh, the article of association and every regulation stated that I will face a panel, and I faced a panel about 7 or 8 then. And whoever, I mean, it was like a job interview, despite the fact that I was called in, and they rated me on the top of their list. I recall that Tobi Akintoye said, àwọn ọmọ ẹ tún lọ ń ṣe interview nígbà tó já wọn lókun ẹ mọ̀ ní look bàbá, whatever it is that they put down as their regulation, as their rule, I'm ready. Since I said yes, because it took them about 2 weeks to convince me to come on board, and I said yes, I'm ready. And one of the things I told him then was that look, now that the vice chairman had gone through that process, any other person cannot have any excuse for not going through the process.
Yeah.
Babangida said, well, yeah, okay. Now, to my surprise, when we got to the confirmation stage at the council, some of these people who contested with me, who wanted to be vice chairman, were the ones who were actually, some of them had candidates that they were sponsoring. One of them actually was on the ballot with me. They scuttled the procedure, and now they brought every one of us, about 3 or 4 of us, to vie for that position. Like, it's like an election.
Mm.
And after that, I still beat all of them in the election. Then I became the vice chairman. Then I was questioning the fact that if you know that you're going to have a popular election like you did, why will you put down in your resolution that everybody has to go through vetting? Why did you have to waste our time? We could have been campaigning if we wanted the post. If it is by popular vote, we could have been passed. But I understand the need to say that you'll be vetted. It is not the best, it's not the best way of choosing, because we are not running a nation. We are running a movement where you depend on some skills and maturity to be able to do it. And so those who sent for me actually saw some sterling qualities in me. But now, for some people to all of a sudden turn the table, but for God's sake, I became victorious. I beat the crowd in vetting. I also beat them on the ballot box. Now, when I took over, I knew that things, if you want to build an organization, it has to be the system that you put to place has to be allowed to work. So
Mm.
from day one, I have, I started saying that we will look at the rules, and the rules prevailed, throughout my tenure. As a matter of fact, in the council, I ensured that everyone, every moment I'm there, they have to follow parliamentary procedure. You cannot just, three of you can talk at the same time. You have to be recognized to talk. You can't talk about anything that is not on the agenda until you get to area or maybe any other business and all that. So, in a nutshell, I'm satisfied. Now, let me say this: I am satisfied with the work that I've been able to do. Now, the 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 article of association actually said that you can run again.
Yeah.
If I run again, I will beat every contestant. You know that because the day I told them in council, speakers upon speakers were actually appealing to me not to go, and confirmation is in their hand. And I think I've done well. However, it's part of the lessons. The lesson I'm trying to tell people is that, look, wherever position you may be, nobody is indispensable. And if I've done my job very well, let me leave that seat for somebody else. If I've done my job well during my tenure, the person coming in will step on the shoe and take and extend it. That
Mm.
is how we can be able to build, I mean, build a pool of people who are capable of manning our own system where we have a nation of our own. You know, look at what is going on in Nigeria with the River State. The governor that left there is trying to control the person there. He's asking for the money, and the whole place is in trouble. Is in trouble. There is no. It is a privilege to be able to serve people, and once you serve, leave the others. You know, leave, go by example. I'm just saying, I'm demonstrating to you what a Yoruba nation will look like in the future. Nobody is going to take Yoruba nation and say, I'm going to be in power until I die, or I'm going to be the person dictating the tune in Yoruba land until I die. This is an example. Thank you very much. Let me pause at that.
Thank you,
I know
Daddy.
you are say something that has some other questions.
Thank you, Daddy. It's even a good thing. I was itching to say the when you talk about the parliamentary rule, it's a
Yeah,
good thing that you said that you mentioned that because I remember when we first started, you recommended a book
yeah,
and said I should post it on that platform
right,
for everybody to try and buy the book and read the book and so that they would understand what's going to happen at the council,
right,
how to run the council.
right.
However, I'm sure a lot of people didn't even bother
Yeah,
to buy the
well,
book. I said that because of the way they conduct
mhm,
themselves, sometimes
right,
a bunch of people, the way they conduct themselves. So from that, people will now say, oh, we're not allowed to talk. I want you to clear the air on that. Because I'm
right,
so glad that you mentioned parliamentary
right.
style.
Yes.
So they'll
You
say,
see,
Baba doesn't
yes.
allow us to talk.
Thank you, Yalede. That is so. I'm so. When people say that, I laugh sometimes. Sometimes I say, "What?" I mean,
What are they
sometimes
talking
we are
about?
in the meeting for 7 hours, and the people, ironically, the very people that have been allowed to talk more than 4 or 5 occasions, because I give when I notice, especially the Westchester group, the people from Westchester, I'm gonna say some of them are nicknaming the Manchester, crew, and I'm gonna say it today. They are the most disruptive of all the segment of Ysdm. And I said so with every fiber in me. But I tend to give them the leeway so that I don't want to be seen as muscling their opinion. But do you know that people in the council are the one that are why Baba allowing them to talk? When you talk 4 times and you're repeating yourself, I'm saying, look. We need to move on. Some will just come in, will not be in a meeting for 2, 3 occasions. When they come in, they already form what they are going to say. It doesn't, it's irrelevant to them that the council already talked about that and they already passed a resolution, or even that the resolution has been implemented. They come in and say, I have to, it's like somebody saying, okay, mo ń lọ sí pàdé agbo ilé yẹn, mo máa sọ̀rọ̀ ńbẹ̀ lónìí tá mọ̀ mí. And then you get there, it doesn't matter what people are saying, and you just get up and say some. And people are now up in arms. Why is this guy being disruptive? Now, the point is that even in parliament, every day before you go, every day the parliament meets, there the clerk will have what they call the course list. That is the event. I mean, what they're going to talk about today. It's like the it is what you call the meeting agenda. First of all, we will talk about the election of officers. Now, when you are talking about election of officers, somebody will say, you see, àwọn Fúlàní yẹn wọ́n pa àwọn èèyàn. Look, that is not what we are talking about now. You may have left your home that thinking that that's what you want to tell your compatriots. But wait, let us talk about this election coming. Then the number two agenda, even if the thing is not on the agenda, when you get to AOB, which is any other business, you will be able to say anything. Now you hear, oh, Papa Ayloge, could you no, that is not true. In a meeting, I mean, I have the log of every meeting I presided over, which is virtually most of the meetings. I have the log of them. None of them, except the last few meetings, the one was four hours, the other was 3 hours and 50 something minutes, but the rest have been 5 hours, 6 hours, even 7 hours. And after that, I devised a after meeting something that recording will be shut off, everything will be shut off, people will be free to put their feet on the table and talk to me. And I'll be still there for 2 more hours after this. How can you now say such a person has not allowed you to speak? You know that that is not true. Okay, that is it.
It's not wanting to follow the rules.
They don't want to. And when you call them to order, they come up with all kinds of this. But let me also emphasize that these are the minority
Exactly.
of all the people. People are eager. People in Ysdm, majority of people are eager to actually know what we are doing. People call even after meeting. Those two, that is the serious-minded people among them are actually out there asking us or sending messages. Can we look into this? These people have never ever either in the meeting or out of the meeting actually contributed. All they want, some of them want to be, I mean, a few of them have been in offices. We've given them responsibility. They never do. They have never been able to do it. One of them will write when he's taking meaning, he's supposed to be taking meaning for the meeting. He wouldn't. He will go back and write fiction. Some of the things that he writes, you know that from I write all the time. You will know that he's just getting it from most of what transpires in the meeting won't be in the minute. So these are the kind of characters that we have. But in any organization, you will have these people. It is just the way you manage it that matters. And I think I've managed it very well. The majority of the people, for instance, let me say, the picking of the vice president, I mean, vice chairman to replace me. The vice president,
We're still coming to that.
8 people in the vetting committee actually vetted this man.
Yeah.
And overwhelmingly, he scored 93%. Actually, 93.14%.
Okay, Daddy.
The runner-up was 77%. The last person was 63%. In which case, 8 people, 8 good people. I didn't have to do anything.
Yes, Daddy, I was actually coming to that because
Right.
that is a topic on its own that I'm coming to.
Okay. What is it that I didn't? I couldn't read your mind. Let me
I
know.
I know, I know. Oh, Yeye Dara, you're welcome on board. Your daughter is here, Daddy. She
Oh,
she said,
ìdajì dúró jẹ́ kí n sà. Ìdajì Yorùbá nation tó ń pè léèyàn kan
"Hey,
ṣoṣo.
your show." She said, you we have too much on ground to do instead. She said, you tried your best for the movement, sir,
Mhm.
and we appreciate all your efforts.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. MB
Mhm.
said, can you share some of the lessons you learned as the VC of Ysdm with us?
Yes.
Yes, that's
Yeah,
where
that's what I've been pinpointing. But overall, Ysdm is is the first time in Yoruba land that will have a coordinating body like this. It is an experiment that I work strenuously to make work. You see, many people, most unfortunately, apart from administration, which I mean, the administration of the place that I was immensely also involved in, most of the programs that we carried out, they were not something, they were not things that we can come out and say, oh, this is the, and when you are a leader, you tend to be very reflective and not talkative. You don't, if anything I said at that time would have been ascribed to the movement, that's why I don't, most of the time, if you see me at any of these gatherings, or if I'm called upon to talk, I reflect on what I have to say, and I make sure that I represent you very well. In which case, before I came on board, I was a regular
mm,
on some of these circuits talking about Yoruba liberation. But you know that the moment I assume office, I cut it off. That is part of responsibility. That is part of the fact that you know that when you are a leader, you act like a leader. And now, but people take that to mean the other inexperienced people, instead of learning and taking a lead, they think because you are not coming out to be a rabble rouser, it means that you are not doing anything. Sometimes they say, ah, ibo la wa ń lọ báyìí, kíní kan, bàbá Ayélujáde ò sọ̀rọ̀, bàbá Akíntóyè gan ò sọ̀rọ̀, kíní kan ò sọ̀rọ̀. It's not, look, a serious organization must be much more reflective and be able to plan and come up with programs to be able to be effective. And it's not run on the pages of newspapers or on social media. You
mm.
know, they are not. Let those people talking, let them talk. They are very important segment. They let us know if they invite you to talk, you will talk, but you should talk responsibly. One of the things that we have done right in YSDM, we launched. Many of you had Dr. Ilesami when he gave the account. There are so many things there that was done. I'm not going to mention some of those things, but we have recurring expenditure every month, and those money are going somewhere. Places that things that we know were necessary. So that is one. Number two is that for the first time we had more than 2 dozen organizations gathering together and pulling up their resources to be able to. Now, what we intended was to have all the people subscribing, those who subscribe to the idea of having a Yoruba nation, right? That was the design. But even when you look at it, many fell off the grade. We couldn't find them anymore. Those who were there paid a few others only show up when perhaps their their personal interests are at stake. Some will even not even find out what's going on. He will stay out in some of this and say something. Those are the problems that we have. But the majority of those who stayed with us were very proactive. They were talking to us. They will attend the council meeting. They will bring suggestions, and we follow them. Now, our strength could have been put together to have enough resources in the central account. But these same people who are saying that you are not radical enough, you are not productive, I mean, you are not doing something, they want discouraging others for even putting their own little pennies into the central account. There is nothing that Ysdm will do that wouldn't need to have resources. Even
Yes.
if you look, I've always said it that, and I don't want the Christians, those of you who are Christian, to think it is blasphemy. No, it is not. It's just telling you the extremity of it. To have any meaningful presence in the media at home today, you need to be able to back it up with some funds. For instance, I've always said that, look, if Jesus Christ just all of a sudden appears in Oyigbo, Oyigbo market, not even market at Oyigbo today, and the Nigerian press are there, they will want to know who is going to pay for it. It's that bad. If nobody pays for it, no, the people in Aroshuku and in Ekiti State won't even know
Didn't
Jesus
hear about it.
from us. Yet, the same element, when you tell them in YSDM that, look, you need to be able to carry out campaigns and we should earmark money for it, immediately, this is somebody who is so ignorant. He will be the one to stand out and say, look, you don't need that. They should be happy we give them news. I mean, yeah, 30, 40 years ago, yes, in Nigeria, yes, I was a reporter in those days. We were chasing by lines. These days, the reporters in Nigeria are now chasing byline. They are chasing money. Many of them, according to informed sources, are not even regularly paid.
Hmm.
And so they earn a living out of what they are able to get from the public. So these are the difficulties that are there. And I think the new leaders will have to actually find a way to put responsible, and people that are really savvy in those positions to be able not to scuttle their process. Thank
Thank
you. Yes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for enlightening us on that. I want to ask you a question on the new vice chairman. What's your relationship
Yeah.
with him?
That's funny. Uh, None. Not. Look, let me even tell you this. When I had the name first, and I said, I've never heard about this guy. Then somebody reminded me that he's in the ad hoc committee of the YSDM. And I said, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember when we wanted people to reach out to those organizations, to all the organizations. I said, yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember that. I had to, as a matter of fact, funny enough, at the last council, he wanted to talk. He raised his hand, and I looked at the name. Our name is always on the bottom of that Zoom. And I said, I wanted to call his name. So I just see Ola Ademola. I said, listen, listen, listen. What is the kini Ola yìí gan? Kilo fenumu? That is, kini àpèjà Ola has to be Yoruba. Oh, and Ola iya. That's when I thought, that's the first time I will know his name.
Mm.
He told me that on the floor of the council, the last council that I attended. So if I have known him, wouldn't I at least know his first name?
Yeah, because the word going around is that Baba
Huh?
Iloge. I said the word going around is that Baba Iloge is leaving, and when he was leaving, he installed someone else, and I'm like, okay,
Mm,
so what was
no.
the process of installation?
When I said we are going to attract serious-minded people, that's exactly what I mean. How are you going to stay somewhere in Manchester and cook up some cock and bull story about Ayloge installing? How is it possible? There are 8 people, and I know at least 2 or 3 who had their candidate who were supporting one of the candidates there. So how is it possible out of 8? So those people, you see, this is how the vetting committee works. And I've been a member of the vetting committee ever since the last 2 years, ever since the inception. And I joined Ysdm. The vetting committee will sit, they will call the candidate in. Luckily, they are not in the same room. They are in different, some are in Europe, some are in Nigeria, some are in the US. And each of them they prepared their own questions based on their knowledge or on what they think that the office entails. They will look at the resume of the person, the CV, what he has done before, what his experience are. It's like applying for a job.
Eight
Now,
different people.
right, 8 different people. And when if Mr. A out of the vetting crew is asking the question, the others are listening and looking at how he's been able to answer those questions, and they will grade him. After the whole thing, after people must have asked questions, there are about 8 criteria, and the questions are drawn from those criteria. So people now will be called one on one, and the secretary will have his screen on the computer. He will say, Iyalode, how do you score Mr. A on this? Once you say it, he will put it down in front of everybody. Then he will call me, for instance, as an example. How do you score him on all these things? It will be recording my grading. Then it will call the next person. It will call the next person to the 8th person. After the whole exercise on that person, immediately it will tally the whole thing and say, look, this guy scored 80 over 100. Then the next person, what is the grade? It scores 70 over 100. So after that, there is no manipulation to it. So how can Baba Iloge, those who went ahead to leak the information that the vice chairman should not have been there? Look,
You are the chief hiring officer
right? I
because
mean, it was in the committee. In which case, if we have done anything, I mean, it was clear that it was one of the candidates were the ones was the one that the 2 or 3 of them were rooting for. So if we have tried to manipulate anything, in fact, let me even give you something that I don't want to give you because they didn't authorize me to come out with it. But let me tell you that if you take the grades scored by Otumba Demola across the board of 8 people, it was decent grading. That's why he's able to get 93.
hmm,
But I mean, nobody knew for the first time when you are not known, and this is why the YSDM this was what those who created that system wanted it to be. They don't want a rabble rouser who is known for less than. I mean, some of his activities are less than that they are below the par to come and hijack YSDN. So they wanted people to look at them and scrutinize them. Look at
hmm,
what they've done before. Look at their track record. Look at how they've been able to relate with others.
hmm,
For instance, somebody who has been hopping from one organization and the other, and and in the process had gathered so much dirt that we find out that it's not able, he may not be able to work in harmony with a lot of others, cannot actually survive that process, no matter how rabble rousing that person is. I mean, how capable of kicking the dust it may be. Look,
Mm,
one of the things that they should know also that the YSDN's the, wa- the vice chairmanship is not for rabble rousers. It is a purely managerial. It is a purely managerial place. So
mm,
to tell me that somebody is able to stay on the video and call somebody out and call people thieves and be is a material. No, it calls for somebody with cool head, cool-headed person that will be able to reflect rather than react. There's the people who do not want to dominate others. Who, I mean, there are so many qualities that we're looking at. And when you look at Ademola, he fits the bill. He been in YSM, I didn't even know until a few months before. Even after that, I didn't even reckon he didn't kick any dust, he didn't make any wave there, but now that we find out what people are saying about him, that he's been working assiduously within that committee
yes.
at a crisis period in in
Land.
now Canada. He was one of those who the one of the cool heads that actually he headed the cool heads that prevailed to put the organization back on a footing. These are
Mm,
people that you want. It's not somebody who had initially called a chairman, all these kind of. And I'm just telling you that those who I must thank those who vetted who participated in vetting. They were very reflective, and that's why they've been there for almost 2 years.
mm,
These are professors of law, head of department of law in one of the universities, a practicing attorney who's a senior partner and founder of a law firm. People, I mean, these are accomplished people in their own right who are not just babies. You can't fool them. And as one of them said, for someone to try to cast aspersion because he wants a rabble rouser as the vice chairman of YSDM actually indicates the fact that these are not the kind of cool heads, these are not the kind of serious-minded people that we can count on within that moment, and we did the right thing. The system works and throw up a very, very cool-headed person that has managerial ability.
thank you, Daddy. Thank
I,
you very much, sir. Now that we have a new vice chairman,
Mhm.
so if you were to advise your 2 years ago self, so basically, what advice do you have for him? Because obviously he's new in this terrain, and yes, he has some experience from where he's coming from. He's a leader. He has leadership experience and all of that. But
Mhm.
the waters are different in YSDM. It's a peculiar organization. So, what advice would you give to him?
Okay. I've talked to him in handing over.
Okay.
I talked extensively with him, and he was happy. One of the things I told him was that he has to be very firm, you know, and be a stickler to the rules, the lay down procedure. Look, the lay down procedure is not just put there for to be changed at whims. If you keep changing procedures and all that at whims, you are going to run into trouble. My father used to tell me, oh, I mean, if you know those who know my father, he was an accomplished politician in the in Western region in those days. He said, look, whatever you have to do in public life,
Mm,
if you try to use scuttle the process or to do mago mago, so to say, he's going to come back to haunt you. I will look, in everything I do, I would rather lose fight honorably than to say things that later on I can't support. That
That
is
will
the
haunt
problem
you.
I have with some people.
Mm.
When, for instance, even in all these things that they are saying, and it's not everybody saying it, it's the group in Manchester. When they others saw what I was doing, as a matter of fact, I have so many well wishers sending me messages and saying that, you know, in the process, we saw what you did and you stabilized us, you did all kind of things. Now, they don't, these are not reflective people. I wonder what happened, but I look at them sometimes when they talk, because one of the things I tell them in YSM is, two of you can't talk at the same time. You are not
Mm.
listening to each other. When you have an opponent, and I promote even some, those who are close to me, people like Dr. Ilesami and the rest of them, I encourage dissent. In fact, I don't come to meeting I will have an idea what I think it should be, but I'll go there with my eyes and ears open. You know why? I want to listen to what you are saying. Most of the time, I follow all those things. Shakespeare once wrote that, you know, a good reason must give way for better. I may have a good reason coming into to your meeting, but I'm ready to listen to, you know, to listen to the better reason. And the better reason, when I listen to it, I say, oh, what this man is saying. Let me give you an example. And I think it's an example within YSDM. When the first secretary left, there were a lot of the organization was teetering in collapse. And Dr. When they asked Baba Akito, he said, give all the things in your hand and hand over to when he said when she said she was stepping out, she said, no, I'm not gonna give it to the vice chairman. Okay, who are you gonna give it to? He said to Dr. Ilesami. So we all Ilesami, okay, okay, you are in their camp. However, when we sat down in YSM, we started saying again how to put the whole thing, especially having a central account. Dr. Lisami unveiled what he did in Canada about opening the account, and I said, run that by me again. He, I said, this is exactly how we said it should be done. That the former secretary spoke to. He looked at me and I said in Yoruba, eléyìí wà ló jẹ́ ló kàn fún wa o lè ṣe eléyìí làṣà kò lọ. That was the day Ilesami came to my fold. Because I said, look, why are we? This is exactly how we said YSM should be set up.
Mm.
And you set it up, and what are we? That was the day we started fighting. I mean, we started working together. We worked
Relating.
and it got after about a month, I started saying, look, we don't have a secretary. I know you are the director of finance, but why can't you do this? I said, no, I'm not a look, in the middle of the night, you know what I used to do? In the middle of the night, I'll send memos to him because I wouldn't be able to call him. I know by 2 a.m. when I wake up, he's just starting to sleep in his own section of Canada. And by the time I start working tomorrow, he is still sleeping. So I will prepare memo notes and send it to his inbox. Oh, Mr. So can you ensure that this is done? Can you ensure, remind us when?
So
And
he was doing the job.
one day he looked at me and said, Vice Chair, ṣé tábà tẹ̀ dé Yorùbá máa ṣé bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe máa push ẹni tó bá bá yìí ṣiṣẹ́ kó máa ṣiṣẹ́ hàgbàgbò rẹ́rìn títí títí mo ní we have a job to do. That was, and to, and we were doing it. And one day I said, look, I want you to be the secretary. He said, no, no. He said, so one day we were in the executive meeting. Babakitoye came and just said, he said, Sami, why you are doing this job very well? Why can't you continue? The Sami just said, àwọn àgbà méjì, wọ́n ti lọ ṣèpàdé lẹ́yìn, wọ́n fẹ́ force ẹ̀yìn ṣe ní money. No, Babakitoye never discussed it with me. I have been telling you for the last 2 weeks, begging you literally. And we were supposed to be enemies in different camps. And so I held, I mean, it got to a point that even in the middle, one of the phone calls I can receive in the middle of the night without children and picking it up, it was that of Ilesami. So these are the kind of spirits that should go into building an organization. It's not saying that, Baba Ayloge ló wà ńbẹ̀, àwa tá a wà ní Manchester, wọn jẹ́ ká ṣe secretary, so we must destroy the organization. It's not, that's not the spirit. It is not the spirit at all. And then it makes you wonder whether these people are in the Yoruba Nation organization for the post, or they really want to, advance the cause of our people. And so when I look at it, like I said, I want to advance the cause of our people, and because of that, there is nothing that those who are saying, Baba Ayloge, ó fẹ́ gba ipò Baba Akintoye ni. I have the occasion to ask him, this is ipò tó ń sacrifice, ipò tó lè wò mí kí ni mo fẹ́ gbà. It's not this. It's a thankless job. We had to defend Akintoye in some places. Nǹkan tí ò ṣe wọ́n ló ṣe. So ipò ń gbà. He's not getting paid for it. I'm not getting paid for it. So
A lot of people don't seem to understand that.
So when you look at all these things, you discover that some people
A lot of people don't seem to understand that.
So yes.
So what's the fate of Yoruba nation as we stand today?
The fate, I mean, there is a robust future for Yoruba nation. If that is one, if it is, the movement is strong. The movement is not. Look, like I assure all of you, I'm not out of the Yoruba nation.
Yeah, I'm coming to the next phase.
Right. So the Yoruba nation, this is what I see. Every time you step like this, you do what I've done, rather than seeing the goodness in it or the bright side of it. People form jaundiced opinion and start peddling it. I don't have time for it. I just do what I want to do. But the state of Yoruba nation is that for the last 2 decades or more, we've been losing ground. It's not, in fact, we've been losing ground for the last 60 years, but physically, most of the federal roads in Yoruba land are impassable. How long have they been constructing? So adding one lane to the expressway, the Lagos-Ibadan expressway, they are adding just one lane, and they are taking it not from Virgin area, but from the shoulder that was there before. Look at, there is no reason why we cannot have 6 lanes going from Lagos all the way to Ibadan and the north on that side. And when it goes on Chagamu to go through or going there, it should be about 6 lanes this way, 6 lanes coming here. Build the road and you brought prosperity to the people. Every time the hours and resources being wasted in traffic on those roads and the death trap on those roads is concerning. Now, in 2011, we were passing through Akure, myself, Tunde Bakari was supposed to go there. I was then the chairman of CPC in Ondo State. And he thought he could land in Akure, go to Ado Ekiti, and come back. He's been told that it's a distance. I mean, it's a distance of usually 3 or 30 minutes. So when he went straight to Ado Ekiti, it took us almost 1.5 hours to get there and 1.5 to get back because the roads were bad. We thought it was bad then. Nobody carried out any repairs
Mm.
since 2011 till the time we are talking. The road had failed completely. If you are leaving Akure, the last time I left Akure to go to Ado Ekiti, I had to go through Igbaraoke, Igbaraodo, through Ilawe, it's like navigating, all the way. The same thing Ondo to Akure road is failing completely. The one from Ilesha to Akure is almost a nightmare. The same, if you look at across Yoruba land, all these things, the things that the federal government or the people in the north may be taking for granted. He's been he's been denying us in the southwest. Our electricity flickers and dies almost within 2 hours. How are you going to have an industrial if you give us stable electricity in the southwest, stable electricity in the southwest for 5 years? Uh-uh, we will industrialize the place. Our people are not we are not fools. But the cost of production has been tremendously increased by lack of power, and some other the roads too. So these are the things that are slowing us down. Now, in contrast, when Jonathan was there, he was appeasing the North, doing all kinds of things there, neglecting in the 1 to 20 ranking in the Nigerian government at that time. The Yoruba were nowhere to be found.
Mm.
Now, even when the president, now President Tinubu, supported Buhari to be in power, he still found a way to concentrate all the things in the north without, even though we have a vice chairman, there was nothing physically going on in the southwest. Uh, Even the people were trying to help us with AIDS. President Buhari then said only he will come to Nigeria only if he's taking care of the north.
Mm.
Now, we went through, even when Obasanjo was there, Obasanjo said he was the president of the country. He wasn't doing anything. He didn't do anything for the West.
Thank
So
you, Daddy.
the West have been a disadvantage. And now President Tinubu is there. Either way you cut it, he's a Yoruba person. And we must emphasize to him that, look, yes, we want to live, but at the same time, we stay in Nigeria. All these anomalies we have to take care of some of these anomalies. That is what I'm saying. Sorry. So we need to take care of all these problems. Sorry about that. Somebody called me, but I shut the phone
It's
down.
okay, sir.
So we have to take care of these problems as they occur. We it's our time. Yes, people say, "Oh, where is from Europe? Is from Lagos State." It's not. Whichever state he comes from, we know Bola Tinubu is a Yoruba man. And so, if Jonathan, if Buhari can, like a laser beam, concentrate on his own area of the country, Bola Tinubu should give us our share, develop some of the things that have been denying us. He
Mm.
should concentrate on that. Give us the roads, give us all that. As a matter of fact, give us the autonomy again to go back to our region. Don't let them take most of the money that are being spent are coming from the west, especially Lagos. How much is the port yielding? How much is the VAT yielding? VAT, for instance, is to be a state government problem or program. Let me tell you about, quickly tell you about that. Onabanjo, Governor Onabanjo of Ogun State,
Christian
introduced
Obanjo.
a candidate that took it and make it federal in the military after taking over. Some of these things, when they see things that are working for our people, they take it. I mean, so look at how unfair it has become when it comes to uh, drinking alcohol, for instance. My state, Ondo State, is very uh, is a very high consuming state when it comes to alcohol, and they pay much tax into the cover. Same thing, Lagos State. You drive. I mean, just recently we had that Kano State government or people in Kano or one of the northern states actually destroyed about 2 or 3 million naira worth of liquor that is seized in a truck. Now, when we take that together, a chunk of it is coming from us through alcohol and all those things. But they get the lion's share of not. They get the lion's share of all this of the bad. Okay, you cannot drink, you cannot eat dog, or you cannot drink alcohol, but you can take from the resources from alcohol from the south.
Yeah, the VAT from alcohol.
Right. So when you look at all these things, that is why there is a clamor for a separate. Maybe look, if we cannot reform, then let everybody go their own way. That's what people are saying. Unfortunately, instead of addressing the political questions, they instead of addressing the political question, they are talking about GDP. They're talking about, they are occupying themselves. The reason we are in this rut is because of these political problems we have.
Hmm.
Give the states their share. Let them be autonomous of the federal. 52, more than 52% of the national resources go to the federal. The 36 states shares about 36% or 30 something percent. The local government takes 10%. And so, what is the program of the federal? That's where somebody has been able to steal 199 billion. I don't know how he's able to carry. That is why money are missing over there. That is where snakes are swallowing up millions. But the states are starved, of funds. So when you look at all these things, let's go back to what we agreed to towards independence, where the regions are able to mind themselves. I don't mind if you say states now, but give us the autonomy. Let the state have let's have autonomy in the states if you want to make them the federating unit. But you cannot even decide they are the federating unit. Let's meet. Let's talk about some of these things. But unfortunately, the North are adamant. I mean, of course, what do you expect?
Hmm.
I'm having the good side of the steak, and then you say no, no, no,
And
no,
you
no.
want me to and you want me to drop it.
You want me to share it with somebody who has the bones. I can say no, it's not in my best interest. But unfortunately, you have those who are not sincere in Nigeria saying that on restructuring I stand. No, okay, we all stand on restructuring, but what about the other people that said no, there should be no restructuring, that they
Hmm.
like it as it is? What are they doing to change their mind? They are in the majority in the artificially created boundaries and the artificially created population in the north. The people closer to the Sahara are, in fact, much more populated. Those areas are much more populated on paper than those of us who are nearer to the source of life, water, and all that.
Thank you, Daddy. Thank you so much for enlightening us so much. Now, let me quickly go to the reason why we're having this conversation tonight. What is the way forward? What's the next phase for you? And the reason why I'm asking this question is a lot of people are saying, oh, Baba Iloge has exited the council, he has exited. I was trying to explain that he is done being a vice chairman. Number two, he's not a member of the council, but his organization is still a member of the council with two representatives in the council. But the Babai look at that I know is still very much in the struggle. And I would like to invite him because I know there's always something he's working on. So, can you tell us, can you share with us what's the next step? Because people, and then let people understand your exiting the council, what it means, and then the
Thank you.
next step. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Yalode, for bringing that. Sometimes this is exactly what I was speaking to when I said a lot of people. I know two people in the council or Ysdm. They will be the first to say, "I'm one of those who wrote the the article of association." But when they talk, you feel that they didn't even read it. They don't. For instance, look, the process of YSDM, which I had enforced in the last 2 years, has been that organization will send two representatives. The Yoruba People's Forum that I representing there was actually put together in 1996.
Mhm.
We have some Nigeria. I mean, some of our people, former secretary, God bless his memory, is no longer with us. Um, a number of people, those who went to Nigeria, those who are here that felt that they sacrificed so much then and they didn't want to, but the organization kept coming. Now, I was the leader of the organization for most of the time, but when I was going um, to YSDM, I told them, look, we will have to change leadership. Uh, my friends and colleague and partner in most of this Mr. Kishiku, I said, look, it's time for you to vie to be the chairman of YSDM. Mr. Kishiku said, look, we've been in this since then, since the beginning. Let somebody else. Dr. Dr. Jogun Oluwajanon stepped in and became the chairman of YPF. Now, in YPF meeting, the two of them were actually sent as representatives to YSDM because I was an official of YSDM, so I couldn't have been representing them. So those two were sent to YSDM. Now, because of my position in YSDM, I'm in all their platforms. I mean, I've been in all their platforms from day one, the committee platform everywhere. Now, I'm trying to manage it. That's how to know if there's anything going wrong somewhere. You intervene. Now, when I cease to be chairman, will I still retain my the article of association did say that anybody who is not an official can still log in into those places and still be coming to council. Should I now go back to my organization and say, let's yank Dr. Oluwajan or the Venerable Mr. Kishiku, let's yank him out of there so that I can be there? I mean, that is not my position. What I have demonstrated again here is to tell you that the rule appear. I mean, the rule is also applicable to me. Nobody should be too big or too influential to scuttle the rule that was laid down. The rule is that I am not a member of the council. I'm not a member of the directorate. I'm not in any of those places. Why should I be there? But rather than people sitting down and say, "Wow, this man," it's only a few people who have been able to say that. Like, look, you have actually given us, is an example of what should transpire. So I don't know what they are talking about. Somebody said, "Oh well," but as a former vice chairman who worked tirelessly, you shouldn't just leave like that. So that people can now point that I'm breaking the rules. I'm not going to be able to do that. It's
Like
not a
you're no longer Vice President
I'm not right.
Oshibajo, but you still stay in Aso Rock.
Yeah, well, right. That's the point. You see, it shows. Sometimes I came to Ysdm thinking that if somebody went to the university, for instance, and claim to, you have people who say they are doctors. It makes me actually look at some people and say, "Are you sure you
I,
passed
it,
through?"
it happens to me too. I look
Yes,
at people's comments and I'll be like,
right.
are you sure this is
What
not a
kind of
honorary? This is not a
yes,
honorary PhD
even if it is honorary, even those who are given,
being
I mean,
honored.
who are bestowed with honorary degrees, should have certain reflective or ability to be able to deserve being honored but you have Nigerians calling themselves doctor, but when they open their mouth or they write something, you wonder if they actually pass through secondary school.
Where that's
But
actually coming from?
that's
Yeah.
not the lot of majority of people. It's just you have a minority of people in YSDM who are also vocal. And you see, they say empty barrels sometimes make most noise. And only recently, when some people thought that the good ones will not rise up, that was the time that they realized that there are a lot of people that are really upstanding and very articulate people. They came out to defend what we've been doing. And that's when they now come out and say, it's the North American people. There's no doubt that those of us in Canada, the US, we've been able to attract some high quality individuals, you know, they're much more than other spheres. And what we are trying to do is to actually increase the size of those people. I actually expect them, especially in Europe, to have people who are not just rabble rousers, but
Hmm.
people who can be reflective. Those who have had people calling me from the side in 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 um, in Europe. There is one Dr. Thompson in Germany. He's been in Germany now for 40 something years. And he speaks with me anytime. These are people that we should be able to attract. But it's mi ò lè ṣe ti àwọn èèyàn wa. Wọ́n tẹ̀ tán bá gbọ́ gbogbo nǹkan tó ń ṣe nígbà míì, ó máa ń bí mi nú. Kinní kan, but he will, most of them will talk to me after off camera or off the Zoom meeting. One by one. So these are the kind of thing. Now you are asking the next phase is this. And look, when at the end of my tenure, there was a press release just to familiarize people with what I would do. Well, he's creating another organization. He's going to do that. I just laughed. Look, what we've done is that, look, if you read through that uh, press release, is that, look, there are two main conflicting, it's not even conflicting. There are two main school of thoughts in Nigeria, in Yoruba land. Restructuring, when we started restructuring in the 90s, crying for restructuring and true federalism during the June 12 crisis, we were saying that, look, we needed to return to what had worked for us. That the idea of an overbearing federal government dictating to the states was not what we had. We looked at our history that the Yoruba were able, at the period that they had autonomy over their funds and over their political space, the Yorubas developed rapidly, that they had to be copied by other nations making up Nigeria. So we need to go back to that, you know. And we advocated for a national conference and where a new constitution was supposed to come out. Those were the restructuring days. But either the military that actually put up the 1999 constitution and actually the transition regime or the transition program, they didn't even consult anybody. They just will it into power, I mean, into existence. That, oh, this is like, this is the constitution that you're gonna run. And most of the politicians among the Yorubas were in a hurry. They wanted to be in power. I remember them, people like Chief Nahoro, General Kennedy, CO Adebayo. We all stayed behind here. We said, look, let us actually, we held them by the neck, let me say the neck. And because of that, let us insist, on following them to to set up the Constituent Assembly and all that. The politicians among us, Bola Ige, and even the current president Tinubu and all that, all rushed to Nigeria to participate in that 1999 transition. Some of them were promising us then that, oh, within, especially Shimbola Ige, who was trying to be president, said within 6 months, I will right all the wrongs. Da, 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 da. But has it been done? No. Almost 25 years or more after that, we are still calling. So at a point, we revealed it that, look, what is coming from the north is is a recalcitrant or is an unwillingness to allow dialogue leading to restructuring to happen. I remember when we were in CPC with Buhari. At that time, Buhari was sold to us as a nationalist. I wrote a 16 or 20 page memo on federalism to be given to Tinubu. I mean, not Tinubu, to Buhari. And as I was looking to give him, I met, it was Tunde Bakare, who was the running mate at that time. I gave it to Tunde, who read it. If you read it, Tunde still called me Dr. Ayloge. He read out, this is very sensible. And he said he will take it to Buhari. And they got it. The Buhari never said he didn't know anything about restructuring. We were all hoping, both of us, from who were, I mean, activism is why I went in there to be able to write, the wrongs. As soon as this man eventually got into power, yeah, he was quoted severally as saying that he didn't understand what that true federalism meant. You say that. And we know it was not true. He just didn't want to do it. So at that point, it was clear, and every northern leader had actually expressed similar ideas since then. Now, what do we do? Those of the South, those of us in the South, especially in Yoruba land, who are still insisting that, oh, I am for structure, I mean, I'm for restructuring. They are just being, they are not sincere. They know they are just playing on words. They don't belong anything. They don't even know what they are talking about. It's just saying that, oh, we are not in the Yoruba. Look, let me explain the similarities between the Yoruba nation and the restructuring. The restructuring is to be able to control your destiny. That is, have
Yes.
control of your
It's
future.
autonomy.
Have, your resources in your hand, not to be taken away by the federal government, where it will be redistributed and you and other people with lesser production capacity are getting a good chunk of it where they are giving you pittance. Those are the goals of restructuring. Now, the point is that we were structured correctly going to independence. We had true when you hear restructuring is the same thing as true federal system. We had that going to independence, and shortly after independence, the soldiers gradually took it over. They took the arms that were supposed to protect the rest of us, they took that to overthrow government, and they gradually, from Ironsi all the way to Abdul Salam, they gradually eroded the power of the regions and all that and turned us to a unitary system of government. And so we are all worse for it today. Now, what is the position of the Yoruba nation people? The Yoruba nation has seen how virtually all of us started from the restructuring process. Now, look, ẹ jẹ́ ká jọ ṣe, ẹ jẹ́ ká pín. And when the North turned deaf ear to all this, then I said, okay, one, they are refusing to even meet us halfway to talk about this thing and go and restructure for the rest. I mean, for the good of all, they said no, they don't want to do it. That's one problem. The second problem is that even if they do it, what stops them from having military coup again and reversing it when it doesn't suit them? And so the best way to have a permanent Yoruba undisturbed development through their own handiwork is to have a separate nation. A young guy came to me this afternoon and I explained to him, he said, Baba, I've never looked at it this way. What we have in Nigeria is having a nation like Britain, France, Italy, Belgium, Germany, and all of them, put them together as a nation. They are one country now. You want to form. Do you think they will have the same national goal? No. The German will be putting in on one side, the French are saying, hey, we want to drink our wine. That is what they have done to Nigeria. Now, and I now explain. The young man is just about 45, according to him. He said, but some people are saying that, look at Europe. Europe now, they are able to come together. I said, look at Europe. Before the so-called World War I, World War II, there was no World War. It was European War. It was the so-called World War was no World War. They said the boogie that it was World War. They brought us into it all over the world because they had dominion power. However, it was a war of delineating Europe into smaller states, to nation states. And they did that, and it still continues up to today. And since it still continues up to today. Now, since they were able to do that, the restlessness actually ebbed because you now have states like Poland and the others. Even with that, you see more states coming out. Now, look at what Europe had done. They knew they cannot just be an island. Each nation can be an island on its own. They now call EU. They now cooperate on economic sphere. But everybody is retaining political control of their unit. Do you understand that? So,
yes.
It's not going to dissolve today and the United States of Europe.
But, no way.
Right. So that is exactly what
we're looking for, what we're clamoring for.
That is what we are clamoring. Nobody is saying, and then he's saying that, oh, some Igbos, they've invested in Yoruba, some Yoruba invested in the North. So how? No, I mean, am I not invested in the United States? It hasn't changed anything. Igbo can still thrive in Yoruba, but the political, we will control our destiny. If we are a nation, they will abide by the rules, and
of our
they
country.
abide by the rules, there is no problem to them. And in fact, they can thrive better. Look, the United States now is trying to be, or is known as, is suspicious of China. But most of these goods, the lower goods, are coming from China.
Mm.
They are not the same nation. But our people oversimplify to the extent that they think that every time you say, well, we should have a Yoruba nation, the Igbos want to have an Igbo nation. And in fact, if the North, if the Fulani nation or the Hausa nation can be together, it will be in the best interest of all of us, because each of us will specialize on what they can do, and we will all invest the product of our sweat on our development.
Mm.
That is the, so you can see the similarity. The 2.0, restructuring 2.0, is the Yoruba nation, where nobody can reverse it. If you want to reverse it from outside, it will be outside aggression. That is the now. There is similarity. And like I've always explained to some people, when the Yoruba people says, well, we want a Yoruba nation, take, and every literature that they write, remove Yoruba from it, put Igbo. If there is no contradiction, put Fulani, put Hausa, it will still be valid.
So everybody still want the same.
Everybody,
We want
we are
control of our
nation,
region.
we are nation forced together by imperial force that didn't care. The only thing they look at is the pigmentation on our skin. But we know we are different nations. We are on different strata of development. And because of that, we look, when I explain to people about what I call crisis of nationality, it is one thing that I say all the time. We have never, for instance, Nigeria has never had a national crisis. None. Maybe when Super Eagle loses to some other, we may have a national, something that we can all agree on. Look at the election that brought Tinubu to power. Some are still swearing that is less deserving of it. And, and these people saying that is because they are not from the ethnic nation where Tinubu, originated from. If Obi had miraculously become the president of Nigeria, the rest of us will be saying the same thing. It means that we've not been able to rise above ethnic consideration, and it's not a problem. It's not our fault, because the nation, we are on different stages of development. We are not together in terms of culture. Our
We're not
cultures
one.
are not the same.
We're not one.
A Yoruba man wants, from nature, he wants harmony, because he knows that harmony is the only way he can develop. He is very altruistic in character and nature. The others are not so. When they are given a handshake, they need an embrace. They
Mm.
think others are stupid. The
Mm.
Yoruba look at you and reason with you and say, let us reason together. Instead of drawing, for instance, I've always told them, even the history of Lagos, we were fighting over the marshy island of Victoria Island. People say, what? Tomato lẹ́yìn ń gbìn, ẹja lẹ́yìn ń pa, ẹ lè máa ṣe àwa lónìí ilẹ̀, a máa dúró sórí ilẹ̀. And all of a sudden, ẹ̀kọ́ àgọ́ síbẹ̀, ẹ̀kọ́ gbogbo ẹ̀ síbẹ̀. All of a sudden now, ẹlẹ́yìn lónìí gbogbo Lagos. That is the story of Lagos in a nutshell.
Daddy,
If
your camera is moving.
eh?
Your camera is like your table is
Oh,
moving.
sorry, I put my elbow on the table. So
Okay.
give me a second. Let me flip on the light so that, are you seeing me, or let me put on the light for the
Put on the
camera?
lights now.
So, I'm sorry. I
It's
should
okay.
have probably done that Aha. So look at even Tapa. I was reading somewhere Tapa now loleko. Ah, yo, but say I Tapa or colleague. So when you look at all these things, eh, you know that until in Africa as a whole, not just Nigeria, until we can delineate ourselves into nation states where there is no mutual suspicion, there is no mutual rivalry, no that we will not develop. Now, some people will say, "Oh, I don't want balkanization." It's not balkanization. You can now see how we can cooperate with each other across those natural boundaries. You
Mm.
will now harness. You have regional cooperation. Now in Nigeria, we are fighting ourselves to be able to dominate others. It's not in Yoruba's nature to dominate. We are not expansionists. Look, Yoruba land stretches from the current Yoruba all the way to Atapamen in Togo. That's Yoruba land. We occupy it. Our intention is to make sure that those people are united to be able to shout a call for their development. And that is why the Yoruba Consultative Forum, of which I'm a very prominent member of the BOT, is the Yoruba, Consultative Forum is going to come out. And that is what they misleading. Oh, he's creating another organization. I'm not. I mean, I'm not. It is another organization, but it has a different focus. What we want to do is to assemble across the Yoruba land people who are serious minded and concerned about the dwindling fortune of Yoruba, regardless of which of the two school of thought you belong to bring them together, fuse them together, and say, look, let's dialogue. What is
Yoruba
it?
agenda, basically.
Yes, the Yoruba agenda must be on top of every discussion. We want to
Your
have.
camera, daddy, your camera, your camera.
Oh, I keep cozying up to the camera and all that, looking at you.
And it's shaky.
I'm trying to get nearer to my daughter there. But what I'm saying is that the Yoruba agenda, like I told you, the situation physically, our youths are unemployed, our youths are not even, people lament the fact that you want to read medicine, for instance, which we call medicine in Nigeria. Your child is very brilliant. Somebody stays out there and say, "Oh, jam from jam or that," and the result of jam and so. Hell, go and read biochemistry. And now you have somebody who could have been a first-rate this thing because we created all these national institutions to be able to capture and suppress other nations, all the aspirations. Can you imagine that you have the road safety, federal road safety organization parading the corner of Ijare from Abuja?
Mm.
So what is the local government there doing? These are
What
the
do you want?
overbearing, we have overbearing federal government that is trying to suppress and mopping up our resources that could have been used to develop. And it's not just Yoruba. Now, we will be able to prioritize. The Yorubas value education. We value employment for all that. We valued so much because of our own experience. Some will rather pay for people going on pilgrimage. Some will rather pay for some other stuff that are not that, necessary to the Yoruba man. So these are the things that we need to be able to focus on when we meet under the Ejiogbe. By the way, we are gathering the organization under Ejiogbe. Some people had actually misconstrued Ejiogbe. Oh, Ifa never, but no, Ifa, let me even start with Ifa. Ifa is not just religion. Ifa is an embodiment of Yoruba thoughts. It contains philosophy, it contains history, it contains pharmaceutical, it contains art, it contains everything that Yoruba has been. If you go to those who are vast in Ifa, when they chant, when they talk, you'll be able to know of Yoruba history. You'll be able to know. Now, Ejiogbe as Odu is the Odu for fairness and knowledge and all and justice and all that. So if that symbol, we say, well, we're going to use this symbol. Any Yoruba that understands the Yoruba culture will know that this symbol stands for, you know, these are the things that it stands for. And even where they don't know, it's our responsibility to teach them. But you have the later day, oh, the yoga, if there's nothing, look, religion is just one minute aspect of Ifa. If you want to, if they chant to you, listen to them. Nígbà tẹ́ni báyìí torí òkè bọ̀ tó torí kíní kan tó bá ń sọ lọ, if you are attentive and you don't have this almost
Preconceived notion.
right,
If you don't have
you will
any
be able to understand.
section,
Right. If it's high time we all come
and
down
open our minds, and
and
open
open
our
our
mind,
minds to
and
something
and
that are
embrace who
ours.
we are.
Right. These are the things we are. It's a symbol. And so we are not worried. If you cannot go past that and understand that, then perhaps your mind cannot actually be with us because you lack the basic understanding of what we are trying to achieve. And that is why we are saying, look, it's not for everybody. And so, how can that conflict with what Baba Akintoye is doing? How can that be? I have tremendous
It's not
respect
the
for him.
same.
We spoke until yesterday. After the whole thing is been now, Baba Akintoye, if he doesn't hear from me in the first 2, 3 days, he will call me and say, "Ah, kí ló ṣẹlẹ̀ o, kí la tún ṣe?" And I always call him to say, these are all. But the point is that people are so they are I don't know, they are so vacant out there that the only way they can feel that they are in existence is to have all these stories and peddle it around because they lack substance. They want to be relevant, but they lack substance. And so
Mm.
they have to come up with all kinds of stories. And they tell the old man, since for the last 2 years, they've been telling the old man that Ayloge is trying to take over. He's going to throw him. Why would I do that? How is that possible, even? I mean, we don't have a throne. He's in West Africa, I'm in the US. How is that even possible? I read it in the pages of Tribune almost 1.5 years ago. Either they want to be this, either they want to do that, either they want. Now that I'm stepping willingly, stepping back and say, look, let somebody else do it. They don't have anything to say other than, oh, the next guy is going to be controlled by me. How? What are we even doing? We are acting like if this is a cult where things are done without. Let me tell you the Ysdm process. If anybody wants anything done, we will notify the executive. The executive will debate it and decide whether it's worth returning to the council. Once we say yes, take it to council, the council now will be notified. This is the agenda for discussion the next time, the next council. And in that council, it will be debated. And where there is consensus, we all say, yes, let's do it. Where there is no consensus, we will take out the roll and we will vote. After the vote, whatever, if they say don't do it, nobody will try it. If they say go and do it, we will do it. That's the way this organization runs. Now to say that
Following the
somebody is
process.
coming to be able to do anything, as the vice chairman, for most of the time, I presided over the meetings, either in the executive or other. Sometimes Babakite will start with us He may have phone calls, he may have places to go. Sometimes our meetings run from hours. He will say, look, it's midnight, Lord of Milong, again, lawsuit. Then I will take over. The same thing in the council. So when you see some people making some of these frivolous accusations, I always laugh. And I wonder the content. We have one person from whose name is almost we can know ourselves whether we are Yorubas or from other ethnic group. Somebody whose name is positioned right in the middle west between Benin and Delta,
That
and is there throwing that. He always writes in bold capital and making frivolous allegations. Well, something tells me there's something, he has some psychological problems that people should help him. But instead of calling him to order, we just, anybody, so bad. It's not true, but some people say, lè bọ́dà ara wa pẹ̀lú ẹ̀ because àmọ̀ bó ṣe ń ṣe nìyẹn. But it's destructive. It's not even a member of the Yoruba organization. So, look, let me stop at that. But I want to assure everybody that Ayloge is not. This is some. I didn't come to this in 2018, like most of you. I've had a decade or more ahead of all of you before it became almost a decade fighting for the same cause. So I'm not living. I'm not living it. I still believe in it, but the palace states of Yoruba land call for somebody like me to try to work with others to
to
see
wade
what
in.
we do immediately to be able to solve some of those problems. Thank you, Yaludi.
Thank you, Daddy. Thank you very much. I really appreciate this. In
Uh,
fact, I'm still going to come back and watch this,
yes,
in my
please.
own
I'm
time,
here.
just to take everything in even further. Now, would I be right to say that, to conclude that, you still believe in YSDM structure?
Yeah, very,
You still believe in
very
the
much.
leadership of YSDM?
Let me give you an example. Let me give you my thoughts. If, for instance, if I said, "Hey, Ayloge is quitting, I'm resigning," people will have been saying today, you see, there's a crisis for the last 3 months. Go and ask Baba Kitoye. I called him. I said, look, I'm not going to be offering myself for service after. Ah, where are you going? What's going on? Kò sí nǹkan kan. That's the way I wanted it. I want to be able to see a transition to, so that people will know that, I mean, we stabilize
It
an
is
organization.
possible. So they
I
will know it is
stabilize an
possible
organization.
to serve one term and step
Yes,
aside.
and step aside. I'm not even stepping aside. I just say I'm not running because stepping aside is a Babangida this thing that no, I'm not stepping aside. I just say, look, let somebody. This is the end of. It's like being a governor in a state, and then I know it's not something that you see often in the Nigerian political this thing. When you
They
have
want to
people
show
even
us
trying to
power.
run for third term, who are trying to run for third term, even after second term. It's never seen. When I look, it's very funny that when I announced in the council that I won't be running anyway, one of the people in Westchester and that axis shouted, "Oh, Irani is not going to have," because he couldn't believe somebody can be there and be able to step out. Well, and I said, no, as a matter of fact, I will watch me. And I consistently for 3 months asking, I remember one time, each time I mention it, there is someone in the executive who say, it's like you are beating our head with. I'm not beating your head, I'm just giving you. So I know that to be able to have a smooth transition, you will
I have
have
to give
to
it
start
time.
evaluate people, look for people around the globe and let us the process of evaluating them is going to take place and then taking them from the executive to the council will have to confirm them. So those are steps that I wanted to give them. And Babangida said, well, look, I know you have told us you are not living. However, what I want you to do is this. I want you to spearhead the uh,
Vetting.
the, the vetting and the process of bringing somebody in, somebody of quality. And I said, yeah, we have a process, but I will be there. I'm not running away, and I will hand over, and I will tell him all the things that I know he should watch out for. I would have done that. Look, I've told you, YSDM is the only thing we have standing. I mean, we started with all these people grandstanding and all those things, but the process of YSDM remains intact. Why? Because we've been able to uphold the laws that were actually what was set up. Now, like we'd always said, even the law of nations sometimes you have amendments. And in the amendment, there is a process for amendment in the Constitution or in the Article of Association. There is a process for amendment, and the process is so clear and uncumbersome. One, the Constitution, I mean, the Article of Association lives forever. However, you're going to have amendment. Now, if your organization wants amendments to the Constitution, they write to the secretary. The secretary takes it to the executive. The executive looks at it and says, yes, let's take this to council. In council, they will allow you to table that amendment. We might debate it all during the meeting, and it could take several meetings. But after that, there will be voting either to confirm or to reject the proposal. Once this is confirmed, it becomes the amendment, the first amendment, second amendment, third amendment. There is no, and then, but what you hear from some of these people who claim to have written the article of association, hey, let the law department come on with no, it's not the law department. The law
Mm.
department has no role. Now, after we pass it, we may now refer to them that this is what the people passed. So find the legalese that you are going to use to put it in amendment form to be part of the amendment. It's not that you go and tell people are so intellectually lazy. They say, "Oh, let's send it to the law department." What is the law department going to say? They're not going to draft the thing without being ratified by the council. The process has to start with the people that want changes to the constitution to send that amendment or send the notice of amendment to the executive. The executive will look at it. There's nothing they're going to do about it than to list it in the council agenda. We will announce it and then list it in the council agenda. Those are the things. Those are the ways that things has to be done. If you don't do things that way, then you are just shooting the breeze. You are not doing anything. And they obviously the new generation don't understand this. They are used to the free floating way of Nigeria, where somebody in the Senate committee will summon somebody to appear before him and he's too big to go there and nothing's gonna happen. No, you can't do that. You cannot. That's why the whole thing, the lawlessness is out there. They need to be able to study the article of association, look at the rules, like you pointed out before. Even in the debate in the council, I told them Robert's Rule of Parliamentary Procedure is a book. It's in hardcover. It's a small cover. It's even an audio. Order it. I know of a particular guy, another a rabble rouser. Every time we are having a meeting, if he disagree with you, he say, point of order, point of order. Okay, what order? He said, like the last speaker said, I decide. No, point of order is not supposed to go against the last speaker, if you want to go against what the last speaker said, wait for your turn. He's still talking. Point of order is what he's saying. Either it's not what we are talking about, or it's against the rule of the organization, or it shouldn't have been said, or it's been decided before. Those are the points of order. But so he just feel that he probably saw somebody somewhere who said point of order, and the presiding officer says, "Hey, listen, hold on, let me address this," and then rule. He didn't understand. He didn't bother to understand. So these are the things. Our people need to be, they need to be told or need to be educated in the fact that
Educated.
they are roots of society. Thank you.
Wow, thank you very much, sir. Rashid said,
Thank you.
considering regional autonomy or even separation based on, oh, sorry. He said, or even separation based on diverse identities will foster tailored development to each region's unique needs. Governing Nigeria is tough, even if it's a saint even if it's a saint at the helm.
Look, I liken my governor as perhaps the prime minister in Ysdm to actually govern Nigeria, because most of these people we're talking about have they have the Nigerian mentality there. Nothing, everything is fluid. Nothing is actually uh, etched in stones, especially the rules and all that. But I don't want you to conflate the idea of autonomy with all other things you said. Let's take it. The autonomy is supposed to, like when I was National Secretary Egbemo Yoruba, we always tell them that when we say Yoruba autonomy, like I said before, remove Yoruba from it, put Tiv autonomy, it's still valid. Put Hausa autonomy, it is still valid. Put Ijaw autonomy, it is still valid because it is the same principle. Because you'll be able to have control of your own resources. You'll be able to have control of your own destiny. Without autonomy, Awolowo could not have started free education. He will be waiting for federal government in Lagos to be able to do something about education. He will still be waiting when he went to Israel to gather animals and all that for our ranches. He will be waiting for the federal government. When he was doing all the things that we praise him for, when he will still be waiting. He won't even have the funding for it. Now, comparing the Nigerian is not governing for. Why do you think there is strife in Nigeria? What is causing the friction in Nigeria is every component part fighting to dominate other. Because when you dominate, then you have access to the resources. That's why we are in this strife. You know, the Igbos wants to be president, Yoruba wants to be president, Fulani wants to be president, Hausa wants to be president, TV wants to be. It's not now we find out it's not because you want to develop, evenly. You want to help yourself to the resources of the federal. And once you have it, you take care of yourself and immediate family, take care of your friends, you take care of your region, you take care of your in that order. If there is something left, and usually there is something left, you now try to play game with it and give it to somebody. That is what. Look, let me tell you what Chief Nahoro told us uh, around 1995. When he escaped Nigeria, we usually learn from him. We will sit down with Chief Nahoro, we were talking, and I was the ones that I would challenge. Then I looked at Chief Nahoro at that time. He was 79 when he came. I mean, when you are in your 40s, when they say somebody is 79, one year short of 80, you're looking at them as, oh, just the way most of you are looking at me when you see my white beard and silver. Now, I asked him that, Why, at your age, why are you going around, still involved in effort to, because he is the leader of NMR, National Information Group, that are talking about, this structuring that you say and true federal system. So he said, look, after saying all of them, and then he said, you know, if a Nigerian goes to the federal, that is, go to Abuja, and you steal 1 trillion naira, the rest of us will be condemning you. But when you are returning home, they will receive you with the whole population will come and receive you. They will dance. They will give you 21 gun salute. They will welcome you back to their fold. Ọmọ wa tó ti ṣe dáadáa ní tó lọ, ó ti kówó wá látọ̀. And then they will start making you chairman of all their parties where they are doing anything, so that you can the palace want to build another one, you will be chairman, because they believe you've taken their own share from Abuja.
Back
How
home.
now listen, however, if the same money were given to your local government, the 1 trillion that was supposed to be used to construct roads in your town, each time the road is not completed in Yoruba land, for instance, people will go and talk to your mother. They talk to your father. Wait, a gbọ́ pé ọmọ ẹ ti gbowó ọ̀nà yìí tí ìyà ń jẹ àwọn èèyàn báyìí. You probably won't be able to get away with it. But you can get away with any stealing from. Look at all the money that is being stolen. Unless you have actually wronged the people who are succeeding you in power and they want to deal with you, you cannot trace the money. The money that vanished during Buhari, well,
Mm.
are
When
we
the snakes,
them?
is it the
Right,
one the snake swallowed?
right.
Or the one
Did
the
you
monkey?
hear? Did you hear about them? So look, it is federal money, and that is where there's so much competition. Those who are taking Tinubu to the United States court and all that, they know what they are fighting for. They want that resources for themselves and perhaps to their cronies and
As
to
well.
their area of the country. But in a Yoruba nation, for instance, I've always said this, Yorùbá le, Yorùbá ìjà náà la máa jà, ìjà ìrẹ́pọ̀ la máa jà. Pé ẹ̀yin bàbá yìí, ṣé àwa náà wá tẹ̀pá ń bí ni? Jẹnẹrétọ̀ tó ṣe lọ́jọ́ yẹn tó ń jẹnẹrétì ní Ọ̀tà. Kí ló dé tẹ́ ẹ̀ wá ṣe kan sékìtì? Nǹkan tá a máa gbọ́ lẹ́nu wa nìyẹn. By the time they ask you like that, you make sure the development is even. Now, and I've always said so that tí n bá lọ parliament ní Yorùbá land pé ẹ gbọ́ àwọn ọmọ wa yìí education tó wá ń receive, we need to do something about it. Nobody, Ìjẹ̀bú ò ní sọ pé rárá, Èkìtì ò ní sọ pé rárá, Ọ̀ṣun ò ní sọ pé rárá, Ọ̀yọ́ ò ní sọ pé wọ́n á ní lóòótọ́ ni. But you go to Nigeria, pé kán increase the budget education, they will rather use that to buy jeep for others, for them, condo. So when you look at it, there is something to be gained by a people, the same people with the same cultural affinity, with the same way of life, with the same language, with the same distance, staying together to plan for their development and progress. If we don't, look, kò sẹ́ni nílẹ̀ Yorùbá tó lè disagree pẹ̀lú mi títí títí tí n bá lọ ní ẹ̀kí n jókòó pé bá jẹ́ ká sọ̀rọ̀ tọmọ tìyá. Ó mọ nǹkan tí mo mean. It will be reasonable, but you can't do that in one tó bá lọ bá Igbo nílùú ẹ̀ pé wà gbogbo kìíní. And he don't, I record it, and he don't come and beg me just to know. Tó
Wow.
bá lọ bá Fúlàní náà, the same thing. Tó bá lọ jẹ. So there is something nǹkan tó ń dè bá wa nìyẹn. And once you get to a stage of understanding like me, It's not something I take frivolously. Oh, as far as I'm concerned, I'm trying to improve the pool of capable people that can be that can come back to your land with their skills to
You
be
so
able to transform. Tó bá jẹ́ mi gan ló wà ńbẹ̀, tí mi ò bá fẹ́ lọ gan after 2 terms, ṣé mi ò ní wọlé ni with the kind of support that I got? Those people were trounced torí wọn ò lè overturn majority. Wọ́n á bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí rọ́ pa bàbá Ayélóge ló mú wá bàbá Ayélóge ló ní kán dìbò fún. Ṣé èmi ni mo lọ kó sí ọkàn 8 people tó ní àwọn
gbogbo àwọn èèyàn tó wá láti group kan náà.
àwọn tó vote for him?
Committee, they are from different groups.
They are from all over the world.
Yes.
So those are, look, we must as Democrats be able to lose. I do my homework, but my first thing is I will look at it correctly without mi ò ní fi gbá kan bọ̀ kan nú. I will look at issues. Unfortunately for me, throughout my stay there are people who actually understand that this is what this man was trying to do.
Yes.
So
thank you so much, Daddy.
Thank you.
It's been a wonderful evening. I appreciate you spilling it all out. We're still going to talk about Yoruba Consultative Forum Assembly some other time. Well, you are back now. Yes. You are back now. And you and Daddy Akinshiku.
Right.
I'm glad to announce to people that you are the anchors for Podium Politico. So
okay.
We will be discussing political issues every week.
Yes,
so
thank you.
I'm glad to have you. We're all happy to have you back in one piece. They're happy to have you back in one piece. And we wish you a very Merry Christmas, Daddy. And Ojoyan to know that thank you very much. And we appreciate
one more thing, audience, when you came to Ysdm, you were just Iyalode of Ysdm. I have now promoted you to Iyalode of the universe.
Oh my God. Daddy, thank you, sir. Iyalode tí mo sá fún
anything. Iyalode ni ìwọ ni bàbá.
Ẹ̀yin náà lẹ sọ mí Iyalode.
Èmi náà ni gbogbo ẹ̀yin ọmọ mi mo máa ń yes.
Nígbà tí mo pera mi Balógun níjọ́sí, and you said that no, Iyalode náà pè. So I'm very happy. I'm very happy working with you, Daddy. Has been a privilege, and I have learned, just to let you know, on behalf of myself and the Yoruba people that you served, which I happen to be one of them, I want to say a very big thank you to you for giving us 2 years of your life selflessly, without reserving any parts. You gave it all because I spoke to you day and night. And I know you were always in meetings and phone calls, and you did a lot, even through a Degbeta, which you even forgot to mention. You did a lot through a Degbeta. You raised money for the Yoruba journey. And a lot of people who didn't even understand what was going on. They were cooking up stories without even knowing that you're part of the engineers behind even that fund that you gave to them. So they did not even know that you raised most of it through your people that you personally know. And I'm proud of you. Anywhere anybody say anything about you, you know me. I will always rise to say what I know. I will always rise to say what I know. And I'm very grateful for you. Oh, Mommy Mojisala Johnson just arrived. Mommy, you're welcome, ma. Thank you very much, my quadroti. MB is also here, your daughter.
Daddy, who?
MB. Me ní dá gbogbo orúkọ yẹn.
Oh, MB. Má dá lóhùn. Sọ fún pé mò ń bọ̀ nínú ọba. Mo máa lọ etí ẹ̀.
Òun náà pàtẹ́wọ́ fún yín rẹpẹtẹ bíbá ti pàtẹ́wọ́ lórí screen.
Mo máa ó fẹ́ bribe mi pẹ̀lú àtẹ́wọ́, mo sọ fún pé mi ò gbà.
ẹ ṣì máa lọ etí ẹ̀.
Mo máa lọ ìtú ẹ̀ ní.
Wà bẹ̀bẹ̀. Mọ́mí ní kẹ́ máa bínú fáwọn late o, Mọ́mí Johnson, Mọ́mí Mojísọ́lá Johnson. It's okay, Mommy. You can watch it all over again. We're just saying a very big thank you to Baba for everything he did, for even heeding the clarion call when we went to speak to him, and he never said no. And I want to say a very big thank you on behalf of MB, on behalf of Olorieko, on behalf of the G8s themselves, all of them, on behalf of everybody, on behalf of Ysdm and the Yoruba people. And moving forward, we pray that Eledumare will be there for you. And Ọlọ́run á gbogbo àdáwọ́lé yín ó máa yọrí sí rere ni lágbára Ọlọ́run. Gbogbo èròǹgbà ọkàn yín ní ti dáadáa gbogbo ẹ̀ lọ́lọ́run ló máa bá yín gbé. Ẹ bá ṣe tú báyìí Ọlọ́run á bá yín tú. Ẹ bá ń dè Ọlọ́run á bá yín gbé. In Jesus' name, you know that I will end my own with Jesus Christ. God bless you, Daddy. And thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight. It's been a very, very, very interesting. Anytime I have Daddy, I always sit down, repete. I'll just sit down there and allow him to lecture me, because I am a sponge when it comes to Daddy. I'm always mopping everything up. Everything he's saying, I'm a sponge. I'm taking it in. Because as you know, Daddy didn't even make my job difficult at all. He's a veteran journalist. He sat down there. He answered the question that I have not even asked. He was just taking us from stage to stage. So there was no need for me to even ask some questions, because he was just taking us there. Daddy. And Mommy Moji is also saying, thank you very much, sir. We appreciate you. We bless you. Daddy, wọ́n ní ẹ̀gàn ò pé kó yín má dùn tó ṣe bí òwe.
Wàá pa mí.
My mommy always says something. I'll send that video to you. My mommy will say, call it whatever you like. Honey is honey. Even kó wùnyín kẹ́ mú oyin yẹn báyìí, kẹ́ ní orí ó ṣe korò bí ewúro, tọmọdé bá fi sẹ́nu báyìí á mọ̀ pé oyin àpọ̀nùlá. So that is my prayer for you. Oyin ilé ayé yín kò ní dòbu. So no matter how much, and Daddy, like you rightly said, if people are gbogbo ayé ò lè fẹ́ràn yàn, àwọn minute yẹn náà ẹ need wọn láti put èèyàn under check pé you are still human, pé you are human, so that Ayéfẹ́lẹ́ kọrin kan ó ní tí 90% ẹ̀dá láyé tí wọ́n bá tí 80% ẹ̀dá láyé tí wọ́n bá ti fẹ́ràn mi, èmi ti fi 20% tó kù fi wọ́n sílẹ̀ kan máa gbé mú. Ó di dandan kẹ́ ní 20% yẹn Daddy. Ẹ̀yin ò tẹ̀ tí wọ́n ní 20% bíi 2%.
You want minority 1%, 1.
Exactly. So be 2%, 1%, 2% lẹ́ni. So you should be very happy that serve for 2 years. Wá rí ju 1% or 2% tó ní bàbá wo gbogbo 98 tó kù wọ́n ní iṣẹ́ òṣùbà fún bàbá yẹn. So Daddy, ògo òṣùbà fún yín o. Ẹ ṣé gan. God bless you. So guys, till I see you next week. Same place, same time, where I will be bringing Otumba Ola Ademola, the vice chairman, the current vice chairman of Yoruba Self-Determination Movement. He'll be our guest on the next episode of The Podium, where we also speak to him and find out his plans for Ysdm. I remember he said something to me. He said, Ayloge, bàtà bàbá Ayloge tóbi gan láti wọ̀ o. Mo ní Ọlọ́run á bá yín wọ̀. So let's see. Bóyá wọ́n ti ra foot pad, shoe pad, wọ́n máa fi pad bàtà yẹn, àbí wọ́n tiẹ̀ ti ń gbé already. We will meet him next week, Thursday. And you can come join us at 8 p.m. UK time, 9 p.m. Yoruba land time. Please come with your questions, come with your congratulatory messages and your comments. Let's have this dialogue. Thank you very much. Good night. God bless you. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
The Podium. The Podium showcases the beauty of this nation in a way to correct the ideas people have, ranging from arts and craft, culture and tourism, fashion, oil, agriculture, events, and many more. The Podium is a must-watch. It is entertaining, expository, informative, educating, and interactive. The Podium.
Redefining Africa and its